So, hello. Hey, all right. Yeah, absolutely. Great audience here today. Good day, Paris, and happy Halloween. Man, look at there. It's fall, y'all. We've made it into officially fall. We've got a little wind, rain, a lot of activities going on, and I've got good news to report. UT beat UT this week. And I'm just so proud of UT, showing up again this week and really giving it to old UT Martin. I'm just kidding, Vols fans and Skyhawk fans, but got to give it to you, man. You beat up your little brother. That's kind of what happened. And you beat Alabama. We know that. We do know that part too. Trust me. I've heard it all week long. Oh, man. We've got a great show, but before we go to what's coming up on the show, let me throw out our email address here. If you've got any ideas, anybody that you'd like to see on the show, any topics, any organizations, feel free to contact us here at our email address, gooddayparistn@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to find out what's going on out there. And again, we are still searching for talent here in Paris. Paris has got talent. We would like to have the submissions. You don't have to. I had somebody ask me, do we need to send like an actual, audition tape or anything? No, just, hey, send us some information about what it is your skill is, or your talent, what is it you want to showcase. Hey, we'll give you a shot. We're open to all comers. So that we're not looking for just music. We're not looking for just singing. I'd like to see some shadow puppets. I think shadow puppets would be awesome. If you are a shadow puppet whiz, hey, we'll get the lights hooked up for you, and you can do your thing, and we'll put you out there. So. Also, go to our website, myparistv.com. There you can find all our show broadcasts, all the other platforms that we're broadcasting on, all the information, all the contact for Kehl Media and Paris Productions, as well as Good Day Paris at myparistv.com. And all right, and let me tell you something. Tonight is going to be, I thought last week's was jam-packed. I thought the weeks before was jam-packed. This week is even more jam-packed. We are going to be talking with Miss Teri at the end about some paranormal, some good Halloween, peculiar, weird, strange things. I'm really intrigued, to be quite honest. I've heard a little bit. I know a little bit about some of these stories, but it kind of gives me the willies just to even think about it. Woo! But so be ready for that at the end of the show tonight. Have your popcorn ready. You might want to turn the lights up at home because it's going to get spooky. And then we're going to be talking with some local actors and film producers from a movie that was shot here in our community in Paris and Stewart, Carroll County area. We'll be talking with them. But first, we're going to meet our first guest of the night. And we're going to go over here and talk to her.
Hello.
Hey, Mika, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We got Mika Davis here in the studio with us today. And Mika, tell us what you have opened up a studio here in Paris. What kind of a studio?
Yes, it's a yoga studio, but we offer yoga and Zumba and a few stretch and sit classes.
Okay, yoga and Zumba.
Yes.
Well, we don't have any of those. This is the first studio that I know of in Paris where we're offering all of these services. What prompted you to do this?
Well, just trying to get healthy and learn my body and just get back to feeling like human. Because for a woman, as we have kids, we lose ourselves. We become mom, we become wife. And so yoga was the first step in finding who I was before the kids, before the husband. So like the weight loss was a bonus, but I really sought it out to find who I was again out of life.
So the yoga is, again, forgive me, I want to explain to everybody, the concept of yoga and what all yoga does.
Well, it is physical. You build good core energy with yoga. You can burn calories. Most people use it to like center themselves, to relieve stress. It's a very positive way to release negative energy. We walk around so grumpy all the time or depressed, and yoga is a very healthy outlet in, getting rid of some of that negative energy. Plus it helps your mental and stuff on top of that. Can
you take somebody that's grumpy and depressed and yoga them? Is there any way to get that grumpiness out of them?
Yeah, I've seen it. Like people who come to the studio, they're like, oh, I'll try it. This hurt, that hurt. And like a couple of classes, they're like, I don't know, I just feel good today. And since they feel good, they spread good energy because they feel better than what they felt when they first started coming. And like, you can use it for a weight loss program. You don't have to use it for weight loss. Like I said, you can use it to just build yourself up. Like my slogan is, find yourself, build yourself, then love yourself. First you have to find out who you are. And then when you find out who you are, you build on that. And then you get to a point when you love who you are.
That is a great slogan. I love that. Is that you developed that?
Yes, I developed that because it's what I learned with my journey of yoga, and I just wanted to, share that, spread that. I see people who, you get surgeries. There's nothing wrong with surgery. It's something needed, but it's getting to a point in our society where it's just all cosmetic.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lot of steps we can take before actual, surgery and chopping on ourselves, and, it's other stuff we can do, to love ourselves besides what we see on the outside. That's just a superficial layer of who we are.
You said, you talk about a journey. You went through an actual transformation yourself.
Yes, I used to be 330 pounds.
330 pounds?
Yes.
Wow. And so the yoga process, we've got a still up here of, look at you. Yeah, that's a big transformation. Yes. Yeah. So you went and look at that. Wow. 80 pounds. So that was going through and
that's all yoga. That's no diet. That's no.
That's just the physical activity, right?
Right. That's just all yoga. Just moving my body every day, learning my body, learning what I need for my body. Like you can learn how to eat with yoga, because you pay so much attention to your body. You start to learn like, oh, if I eat this, I don't feel so good. This makes me feel better. So you learn to fill your body with what it needs instead of just eating for taste.
Right.
You learn about moderation. You really learn those baby steps with yoga because like you can't come in doing the 4 scorpion. So you have to take those blocks of building. So in the long run, it teaches that with so much more in life. You just take those baby steps and just, until you master it. So, it's just it's not a whole, let me take a big chomp and see what I can do. It's like, it's just little baby steps. And then they add up into, you look back and that's what I was.
Yeah. And so you've gone through this and you're to the point of loving yourself.
Yes.
And so is that when you decided to open your own studio?
Well, I was working at the gym here in town for like a year and a few months. And I just wanted my own space just to get more people in, just to have a more open schedule because the gym was so limited.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to reach more people because like it was such good news.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, we have to know about this. And I tell people, we have muscles, we have joints because our bodies want to move. We were made to move. And some people talk themselves out of yoga, oh, my foot hurt, my back hurt. And it's like your body's hurting because you're not moving. That foot's hurting because it wants to get up and move. That hip's hurting because it wants to move. That's why we hurt. And yes, yoga hurts when you start it, but you build up such a confidence and muscle within yourself. You really feel like you could just conquer anything.
Is yoga? You started this at what, 320 pounds?
330.
330 pounds.
Yes.
And you're not a really large woman. I mean, you're fairly petite in height and stature.
Yeah, 5'1".
5'1", right. So that's a tremendous load to be carrying. And I'm just thinking about all the excuses that other people make for not getting up and not getting started.
Right.
And here
I had those same excuses, and then you can only use them till they're not an excuse.
Yeah.
Like like you said, it's an excuse. Oh, I'm tired. I'm this. Well, you're tired because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
How
did that change? When did you notice the change? How was it early on?
You mean when I wanted to start the journey, or
once you started? Not after the start, but when you started feeling the effects of the yoga.
Probably when I had enough energy to keep up with my kids. Without feeling winded or tired or just exhausted from the day. Like when the sun actually went down and you get the kids to sleep, and it's like, I came off the floor. I'm not tired. I'm not wore out. Like I felt those differences before I seen physical differences. So that's what motivated me to keep going. It's just I felt better without chemically feeling better, without drinking coffee all day, trying to get that extra energy. Like my body just developed it naturally, and from there I just kept going.
Yeah. So and yoga is more than just stretching. A lot of times if you're not doing it and you're only watching someone, it looks like they're putting their arm under, doing all sorts of positions.
Right.
But it takes a lot of strength to do a lot of these poses.
Yeah, that's what they're called. They're
poses,
yes,
right?
Yes. Yeah. It takes balance for one, but you don't realize how much it takes to move or hold your own weight until you have to move and hold your own weight. Because we get carried through life. We sit in the car. Some people grab the little motor cart at Walmart. Or we lean on the cart at Walmart. When you have to support your own weight with just your worth. It's a lot of muscle, and when you get started, like I said, it's kind of painful because you're building muscles you really never used. You're probably building muscles you probably forgot was there.
Yeah.
And then the most target thing with yoga is it hits the core. And once you get your core muscle strong, it's literally the center. Once that gets strong, it just sprawls out. Everything else gets stronger with it. I started off, I couldn't even do a plank, like either on my knees or not. Now I can hold 1:10 plank.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, you have to slowly just build those blocks. Like nothing's overnight. Anything's worth doing is worth doing, gaining it, mastering it, then moving on. We don't come out walking.
Right.
You have to crawl before you can walk.
Yeah.
So it's still poses I don't know yet, still poses I'm still learning. But just the journey alone, I feel like I crossed a couple of milestones.
Yeah. In addition to yoga, you have Zumba. Now, I kind of know what yoga is, and I'm really confused about what Zumba is.
Zumba is like cardio. It's just all moving. It's like mostly Latin dances, Latin footwork, merengue, cha-cha, salsa. And yet again, it actually focuses on the core muscle, because dancing any type of Latin ballroom, which I have experience in, it breaks up your body. Your top half is doing something completely different than your bottom half. And then that builds mental muscle because you're splitting your body up. So
do you lead those classes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is kind of impromptu. Come on now.
No.
How do we, you says, is it dance?
You don't dance with a partner. It's more like I'll be in front and then you'll learn like a two-step.
A little two-step, a little back and forth.
This leg.
Yeah. So you're kind of, I can see you do it enough times. You're working on the muscles.
And then, you have the arm movements, and we'll do a step, and then you'll have to do the left leg back. Like it's all in your thighs, in your core. Keeping your balance. There's spins.
It's fun though,
yeah.
Isn't it?
I
it
like
sounds fun. Zumba and dancing, Latin dancing. It just sounds like a fun activity.
It's just something to get you moving, because like people think workout. I have to work out. I have to. And all the body wants to do is just move. You can get out there and play with your kids. Chase them in the park. It's just moving.
Oh man.
It's just
I'm
moving,
just
keeping
thinking
that
about
heart rate
that.
up. And
Oof, chasing those kids. Man,
You
they're
could
bigger
get it.
than I am now. They chase me.
Mine are like, I'm 5'1", so mine are getting there. From the minute who's like, you want to go outside?
You had your ribbon cutting open house about a couple of months ago?
End of August, I believe.
Okay.
In August, it was a good turnout. I met some really nice people. And then right after that, we shut the studio down because I wanted to build something for the Halloween season.
Okay, which is?
I built a haunted escape maze, which is a mixture of a haunted house and an escape room.
Okay.
And so it's built of 4 different parts. You have like a 45-minute task to get through. It's very spooky. I wouldn't recommend it for little kids, but for parents, that's your choice. But yeah, that's it.
Okay,
right there.
we've got up here the haunted escape maze at your location at 209 North Market Street. And for those of you that are wondering, the front of the building is they're working on the brick out there, so it may look like it's under construction, but you can go under the scaffolding.
They're repaving the brick. They're scraping the stuff out and redoing it, but we're open. If you come past and hear music, we're open.
Okay.
And then that ticket price is for adults. Anyone 15 and under is half the price. So.
Okay.
Because they need someone to go through.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let a kid go through there alone.
Because it's terrifying.
Oh yeah, it's like the dark corner of my imagination.
Oh wow! Hey, I want to see this. Have we got some video or something? I want to see
I think they
inside of your dark imagination.
It's a little twisted in there. I think they do. They came and took some pictures and they wanted to go through.
Oh, here we
there
go.
It is. And this is during the daytime, so.
Okay, so we're going in.
This will be like one of the first rooms.
And he probably had to turn the light on, probably on the camera.
Because there's secret clues in there. You have to go through with a black light.
Oh man!
And then
clues.
The invisible ink shows up with a black light, so you go through with the black light flashlight and figure out how to get out.
Oh man! Do people just scream their heads off?
Some do.
Yeah.
Some do.
Now. Oh Lord, look at that. Look at those crazy people. Now we can hear the sounds now coming through. So you tell me your slogan again. I really want to hear your slogan again.
For the yoga studio?
Just your slogan.
Find yourself, build yourself, love yourself.
Find yourself, build yourself, love yourself. And somewhere in the dark corner of your mind is this escape room. That's pretty wild.
We all got a dark side. We can't be sunshine and rainbows all the time.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah, somewhere in there, somewhere in this noodle, that's the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely, I can see you put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into
it took almost a whole month to build. It was just me and my husband, that's it. We had no crew. It's just us,
Well, that's a lot of physical activity there.
Yeah, it is. Well, we got it done.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody to depend on, so we have to get it done when it needs to be done. And hard work is, I'm no stranger to it.
Yeah. So, how long are you? It said you're going to run it through the 4th of November.
Yes, the first weekend of November is the last weekend.
Okay, so it's open. It opens this weekend?
It opened on the 30th.
Open on the 30th.
And this week, we open Thursday clear through Halloween. So we're going to be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Okay.
This week. And then the first week of November.
Okay.
So no one's escaped yet.
No one has escaped yet.
No.
It's difficult then.
I thought I made it too easy. That was I was like, they're going to run right through this. And I have some people who can't get out that first room.
Oh, man.
So, and then it's kind of like a pat on the back because it was like really a brainchild. Like, it was a thought that consumed me. I started thinking about it maybe the beginning of the summer, and I just started writing, trying to figure out what clues should, how the storyline should go. And I was like, I really want to do this. And so just to see something that comes out of your head and then see it in 3D, and it's like, now the next step is I want people to like it.
Yeah.
So people started coming out, and even if they didn't make it through, they were still coming out smiling and saying, "Oh, we liked it." They was leaving excellent reviews on, Facebook, and I was just like, great, they really like it. I have grown men in there talking about, "Oh, this is creepy." It looks like Jeffrey Dahmer or something. So it's like, okay, I did my job.
Yeah.
I did my job.
The creepy part of your mind made it out into the public space.
Into the real world,
Yeah.
yes. It made its way. And it's like, we watch horror movies. Everybody loves Halloween. And we don't, like I said, we don't always get a chance to express ourselves anyway, like with life in general.
Yeah.
So like moments like this, I like to take advantage of because I might not be able to do this again. So why not?
Tell us the hours that the escape maze is open.
We're open all week, coming up from 7 p.m. to midnight.
7 p.m. to midnight are the hours. $25 a ticket for adults.
Yes,
and
$12.
$12 for under 15 and
15 under, yes. And some local businesses, The Point Barbecue, Jack Java, Lakeway Nutrition, and Dairy Delight was nice enough to donate gift certificates for people who actually make it out.
Oh, wow. That's a good incentive to get out.
So yeah, it's like if you get out, there's prizes. So some people try. We had one group get out, but it's because they was repeats.
Oh.
But we haven't had anyone get out on the first try. Mm-hmm. So like, come out. I want to see who gets done on the first try. I changed some stuff. I put more clues because I felt like, okay, let me add more. And so it should be a little bit easier.
Let me just say that your face lit up about the weight loss and the yoga, but your face is just lit up completely about this escape maze.
Because it was a brainchild. Like I went to school for yoga. I trained in it, and I'm happy that I got to accomplish it. But this was like something that was completely in my head. Like nobody pushed me to do it. No one gave me the idea. It was just like, we should do this.
Yeah.
And then the fact that I can do it, and then it got the success, it attracted you guys.
Yeah.
So the fact that people was like, "Ooh, what's that?" It, deep down, it's like, that's more reward than, actually trying to make a profit off of it. I just really wanted people to like it. Mm-hmm. Believe me or not, if I had the money, it'd be free for everybody. It would.
Yeah.
It would, because I just love their faces when they come out. They're like, "Oh my God, that was great." We never
they're
did
not
nothing
like,
like
"Oh
that.
my God!"
And some people say they're coming back, so it's like, try it again.
So cool. Now, after this, you're going to go back, open the studio. When are you going to open your studio?
We're going to take everything down that weekend, and if we're not slow, we should be open that following week. But if not, the week after, which would be, I think, the 10th. And so we're going to go right back to our schedule of our stretch and sips on Saturday and our regular weekly yoga. And then we're going to do Zumba on probably Saturday nights.
Okay.
Because it seems like people like to dance and stuff on Saturday nights.
I see you've got private classes available.
Yes, like if you see any time on that schedule that doesn't fit, just call the studio and be like, "I want a class at 3. Okay, I'll be there,
All right.
But without scheduling a class, those are the hours that are available.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the stretch and sips, you call for those because, we have to prepare the mimosas and stuff. And so we'd like for you to call at least 24 hours before Saturday so we can have time to set up, because that's a stretch and sip, and then you get to do a 45-minute yoga session and you get mimosas.
Nice.
So yes, and that's for 21 and up, of course.
All right, yeah.
We can make a virgin if you're under, so.
Okay.
But yeah, so some people seem to like that and seem to loosen people up, help them. They feel a little bit more flexible. Mm. Some people come in nervous because in yoga you're in such vulnerable positions. So sometimes a little bit of liquid courage,
Well, Mika, thank you so much
for
coming on the show tonight and introducing us to yoga, Zumba, and the dark corner of your brain that brought out the escape maze. I'm loving the escape maze.
I'll pack it up in November, guys.
Yeah, and it was a pleasure to meet you.
You too, and thank you for having me. I enjoyed my time here.
And with that, I'm going to turn it over for announcements to Miss Teri. Teri.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Patrick. And that was great seeing all of that. Boy, I can't wait to get out there and experience that escape room. But you know, Halloween is right around the corner, and there's still so much to do here in Paris. So let's just talk about it. The Henry Volunteer Fire Department's Blazing Demons is still going on, and they're open. And you'll be sure to have your heart pumping if you go. During this last weekend in October, they'll be open the 28th through the 31st. From 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. They're ready and waiting to make your nightmares come true. So come out and have some fun and have some scares and support your local Henry Volunteer Fire Department. All proceeds will support the Henry Volunteer Fire Department. The City of Paris department will be holding their Spooktacular at the Eiffel Tower Park on October 29th. Contests, games, candy, and a choice of 2 trails to walk. Fun for the entire family. This week's Noon on the Square will be featuring Rockin' Randall, French. Enjoy the cool autumn breezes, good food, and great music. I hope to see you all there. Don't forget about the special offer still going on at the Parisian Movie Theater every Monday in October and November. Admission will still only be $5, and that's a great deal, too. It's too good to pass up, actually, and a way to catch the new Halloween movie just in time for the holiday. And also, don't forget to send us an email if there's an event that you would want others to know about, or if you have a suggestion for a guest, or just to tell us how we're doing. Send them to gooddayparistn@gmail.com. And while you're at it, start sending in your best Halloween costume pictures. Don't forget about that, so we can show them on air next week. And that's about it for this week, so I'll be sending it back over to you, Patrick.
All right. Thank you so much, Teri, for the announcements. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a group of guests here today, and before we go to that, I'll show you that I got to meet these guys a little while ago out at the Parisian Movie Theater, and let me roll this here for you. Take a look at our
Good day, Paris. Patrick Smith here at the Parisian Theater, coming to you for a private screening of Blood River Reckoning, a movie that was shot here on location in Paris and Henry County. And with us today at the movie theater is the producer, director, Mr. Michael Mai, and starring in the movie, Johnny Mac. Mike, good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, Patrick.
Thanks for coming today to Henry County and premiering this movie for us.
Thank you. You know, being in Henry County is like a vacation for me. Anytime I'm here, I love it, and if I get to make a film while I'm here, even better. You know?
We're excited to see the movie and see what it's all about. And Johnny, you starred in this movie, and it was kind of a lot of emotional range for you in this movie, wasn't it?
I'm telling you, for the first time I've ever actually acted, I was like, man, my emotions run the gamut in this film. So I thought, man, I'm getting put to the test right off the bat here. So, hey, I'm excited to see it just like everybody else. I haven't seen it yet either.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I've only seen the trailers and some of the pictures, but the setting, the period, the dynamics of the whole movie seems really interesting.
Thanks. It took a lot of work, you know. I mean, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, as they say. But hours and hours in the summer heat, humidity, and I have to say this guy here, true professional, hardworking at anything he does, but spectacular performance. And then you might want to spin the camera around here.
Looks like we've got Mr. Mark Berg coming in. Hey, Mark, how are you, sir?
Very good. How are you doing?
Patrick Smith here with Good Day Paris.
Yeah, Mark Berg here. Silas Randall.
Silas Randall. That's who you play in the movie.
Yes, it is. It is. And Mr. Johnny Mac gets to hammer me. He gets to do some things to me that's going to be exciting. Let's put it that way.
I can't wait to see it. It seems like you two guys are on opposite sides of the film, protagonist and the antagonist here.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I guess he's a good guy, and I'm a bad guy, and we play that quite often in real life. I think maybe.
Are you always the good cop, Johnny?
No, not always. Sometimes I have to help him come in and smooth things out for me, but we work well together, I think.
Well, don't give anything away, but does Johnny, is he a good shot? Is he in the movie?
Oh, he's an excellent shot. Yes.
I kind of figured that.
You know, of course, it may be that custom-built rifle that he had made. You know,
That
give him a little advantage there.
it did look pretty sweet on the trailer there.
Yeah. Oh yes, it's awesome. But hey, we're going to have we're excited. We have not seen the movie yet, the final cut. So we're like everybody else. We get to watch it, and we can't wait. I know it's going to be great. Are we going to be big movie stars? We hope so.
That's always the plan, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
What more can you say after that? You know.
Not much, other than let's go watch the movie.
That's right. Our stars are shining bright tonight in Paris. Yeah.
And we'll be talking about this live at 6:30 tonight on Good Day Paris. These gentlemen will be here with us in studio. But for now, we're going to go in and watch the movie.
See the movie.
All right. Go to the movie. All right,
Okay. Any resemblance?
All right. Have a good time.
All right. Thank you so much.
I am joined here on the set with the actors from Blood River Reckoning. I've got, if you don't know, this is John McDaniel, or Johnny Mac, as everybody knows him. This is Mr. Mike Mai, and this is Mr. Mark Berg, who plays Silas Randall, who plays the sheriff.
Yes, sir.
And what was your character's name?
Jack Boyd.
Jack Boyd. Awesome movie. And thanks, guys, for being here on the show and inviting us to the screening. Great movie.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it was. I have to tell you, I was a little starstruck.
Oh yeah, I can see why with Mark Berg sitting there.
Well, I mean, I got to come out there and do a red carpet interview for the first time ever. Mark, did you show up in a limousine?
Actually, I was surprised you could see it reflecting in the mirror.
Yeah, you showed up in a limousine to the movie theater.
Hey, not just a limousine, the Blues Landing
The
limousine.
Blues Landing limousine. And he showed up strategically late, like like a diva would.
Perfect
right?
timing.
Was he the diva in the movie?
Well, I mean, look at him.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, Mike, this movie, this was your brainchild.
Yes, sir.
And tell me about the inspiration for this movie.
Probably a lot of the stories here in the South. Mm-hmm. You know, you as a child, you hear your Gettysburg history, but you're not a member or at least live where this actually took place. So I was filming a movie in 2014, and a lot of the locals came out, and they started telling me of some of the stories and local legends and history, and mentioned some of these stories, and I started thinking about it. And then we continued finishing the film, and then when I went back, I just thought about what it would have been like to live during that time, to experience martial law.
Oh, yeah.
And then there you go, Blood River Reckoning,
Yeah, it really interesting perspective there, and something that we don't think about. Like, there was a scene in the movie where your two boys in the movie go out hunting, and they're approached by Silas and his cohort, and the topic came up, or the point came up, that it's under martial law, and they weren't supposed to even have rifles out in that area. So we were under a different regime, a different way of thinking during that time period. And people, I guess, adapted. They had to.
Yeah. And in both expressions of negativity and then still trying to stay positive. But that's why this fictitious character, this monster, Silas, was invented. Because as a parent, you think of, the worst thing you could ever have happen is to lose a child. So without giving away too much of the story, this creation was just something as a parent, being in the area where all these stories are so prevalent and so many people know the stories and talk about the stories, and the legends are kept alive by word of mouth.
Right.
So, not being from this area, I grew up in Maryland, but I've been in LA for 30 years. I love to hear the history, and then I like to tweak the history a little bit to sort of tell the story the way I like to tell it, So it's about martial law. It's about a family. It's about love and lost, but it's hard for you to find anybody more genuine when it comes to acting than guys like these guys who I don't have to give the dialogue to, don't have to study anything. They're naturals at what they do.
Yeah.
And so I just had to find the appropriate character for them to play. And
I
it
think
was
you
easy.
nailed it.
Yeah, I thank you.
I think you nailed it.
I think I did too. Thank you very much.
Johnny, I've heard you sing many, many times. I've always thought you're a great performer, and we were talking beforehand about some of the singing that you do, where your sound is just like I always say, like Willie Nelson, where you're able to kind of go into that. So the performance side of you, I've always seen, and this acting piece was really good. It was good.
I agree.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you, I was very nervous about it because, when you're filming it, and I'd never been in any kind of production like that, So as I was filming it, I was like, man, is this going to look like is this going to look like, am I doing it? Am I really doing it? And then, so I was nervous about it to watch it today because I was like, man, who knows? But then I got in there, I got to watch, and I was like, man, this looks like a movie.
It did, and the theater was packed. It was absolutely packed.
What drove him, his own personality that has this aspect that he wants to do his best.
I want to be good at everything that I try to do.
Yeah,
and that came through. And the same thing for this guy, because everybody comes into Blues and they see this beautiful restaurant and they look at everything that's going on there and they think that Mark's just like, hey, I'm just Mark Burke. I've been in there in the middle of the day when he's covered with mustard and ketchup and slop, the kitchen is a mess, and he's in there, really working hard. So that's not a lot different than when you see this character, Silas. He was always wheeling and dealing.
Yeah.
He's trying to make his money fighting. He's trying to make his money with a bounty. He's trying to make his dollar. So it's like Mark, as a businessman, can understand this. And then, define what he looks like,
And he looked cool.
Man,
like
Mark,
walked
your
right out of the
character,
movie,
your character in the movie, you did good, but your character in the whole look.
The look of it
was amazing.
Well, it probably some of what helped me was that I had slipped on a Tuesday night and landed on my steps and fractured 3 ribs.
Oh, golly.
And,
so you were in a little pain.
During the fight scene.
Yeah, during the fight scenes, I was with fractured ribs, and so it looked real because the pain was real.
The pain was real.
Yeah, I
There's
just
nothing like a bear hug while you have broken ribs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It
so
added to his
Anguish.
grumpiness, meanness. Yeah. Why was your character in such a bad spot?
If the one scene that was actually my son Michael Berg playing me as a
which was very cool.
Yeah. Well, that's a highlight for me. Not only watching Johnny Mac and the job Michael and them did putting this editing it and all that, but have my son in a movie and playing. When Michael had mentioned it, I didn't know what part he might be in.
Yeah.
Ends up he plays me as a younger man, and so that part was really to at least get some, because Michael told me at one point, said the audience is going to hate you.
Yeah.
But he put that part in, which gives them a little sympathy because you
weren't always. It wasn't always bad.
It was a terrible childhood.
Yeah.
An abusive mother and father and all that. So that scene kind of goes from him killing his father to me 20 years later and everything, and so it made just made the part more real and
really a good contrast too, because your character had zero compassion, John, your character was extremely compassionate and passionate.
Look, I had to be everything there is to be. I mean, like I had to be the loving father, the farmer, the family man. Then I had to be the grieving, with the grief and the anguish, and then I had to get mean and mad, So I was like, that's what I'm saying. I was like, man, for my first time acting,
you went the whole
you threw
range.
it all at me right there.
And it was all a product of his invention. So he's drawing on his memories in life. He said, my dad always used to say this. You think it's appropriate? It was so appropriate. It was why I wanted him to be this character. And he brought so much more to it. And you saw the line at the funeral. The audience went crazy over that. But it was like completely invented by John on the spot.
That was great.
Yeah. So I think these guys invented this attitude and personality and put this, everything they had into it, and it really showed tonight, And it's not even a finished film. It's a preview of something that we're going to continue to score and change and bring in music a little earlier, change a little, here and there. But I was so proud of these guys, I couldn't contain it anymore.
I never got to see it.
Yeah.
But
how did now everybody's going to wonder this. How did the three of y'all, and there were several other people from the area that I recognized in the movie.
Ethan, Torsak, Griffin McDermott, and his sister Farrah McDermott.
So how did you come up with the casting?
Well, I had help with Rhonda Stanton, and I had sort of came in contact with some of the people because I did a few films prior to this, but when we started, deciding that we were going to do Blood River, and even coming up with the title was, originally it was the Tennessee River Sniper, and then Rebel Sniper, and then landed on Blood River Reckoning, and that title sort of made the film kind of have a direction of being more of a family film, less of a war movie. Here's this family that was living a good life. Having
extremely good night. Knew the president personally,
and someone that
Can you hook me up?
You want some of that tobacco?
Or is that how you get to know the president? You send him some tobacco?
Well, if you'd been paying attention in the movie, you'd know that we were friends long ago.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of thing that we kept saying is we have to watch it 3 or 4 times because you keep discovering.
Catch it all.
And I've watched it probably 100 times before I came out, and I was really enjoying watching my mom watch the film, and then
who was here and also got to be at the
it was
viewing.
Wonderful. Yeah, we have had a chance to sit down and enjoy the film together, and I got to watch her expressions and see what she thought of it for the first time, and then to watch the audience respond to these guys on film.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 40 feet tall, and you hear John's voice resonating, and you see his anger towards what happened, and when he's venting towards the sheriff, or you see Silas and how he's just so cold-blooded and so ruthless,
Just cold.
Yeah.
Man, you're going to have to go to church this weekend.
That's what Shirley Mack told me. Sitting here back in
But that says it all. It was a hot humidity. We're in wool.
Yeah, we're showing some
suede.
of the pictures here, and John, your voice, that deep voice that you're able to
that's one of my favorite
conjure
scenes
up
right there.
Yeah, it really resonated through that theater.
I can give that to my dad too. He had a big voice, and I just was born with that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there were certain mean faces that I would make or something, then I would be like, that's what my dad used to look like when he was mad at me.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
We're all pieces of our father, aren't we?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we know when we're angry, or maybe we express ourselves like he did when he was happy, But I just have such a great time working with these guys because the epitome of, the opposite of what you run into in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the constant, grind of having to deal with the SAG factors and, the actors' insecurity of their performance and if they're going to work again and everything that they're dealing with trying to make it as an actor, as opposed to coming into an environment where these guys are both well established. John's been a musician for over 30 years.
Yeah, I started when I started playing. I've been playing every single weekend since I was 5 years old.
Yeah,
So that's
it's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not going in with a bunch of actors that are hoping that they're going to impress me and maybe I'll do another film and use them again. These guys are confident and comfortable in who they are, and they have their own swag and stride, and it just comes to life on film. So,
John, you're another one of the talents that I saw in the film is your unbelievable ability to stack firewood. I mean, you know exactly where each piece of wood needs to go every time.
That was acting right there too. I never actually stacked any firewood, so that was acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, no, it was great, and seeing some of the other extras in the movie, around the fight scene.
what was your favorite part, Patrick? You got to watch it.
Oh, my favorite part has got to be whenever he told you off.
Oh yeah.
That was that line was great. I'm not going to give
don't
it
give
away,
Yeah.
but it was great.
That was good.
My mom looked at me and said, "Oh my."
Yeah, and the shooting parts. I thought the where he's teaching his kids how to shoot.
Yeah.
Some of that. There was just a full range of emotion.
That was another thing I was acting too, because I don't have any kids, so that was acting as well.
Yes.
Well, if you do, they're going to mind. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You lay down the law like
That's right.
that.
Certainly not going to carve on a house.
Right.
No.
My dad never really ever lost his temper too much, but like sometimes, I could egg him on enough where he would finally pop a little bit, and then I got to acting real nice. It was like, okay. Sorry about all that. It's all
Attitude adjustment.
good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just kind of, my dad was a sweetheart, but I just kind of drew on some of that whenever I would get mad at in this,
Speaking of drawing on things in The Sniper, whenever I was watching it, the story was familiar because there was a sniper over in Stewart and Houston County after the Civil War, and it may be a legend, it may be a fact, it may be story, but it happened where he was going around and picking off Union soldiers. Was that part of what you...
I've heard so many different stories, and I think the Henson story is the one you're referring to,
Yes.
which is a true story.
Right.
But not only Henson, but then his son continued on a rampage and was much more gruesome than his father ever was.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stories of tragedy, thousands and thousands of civilians, men, women, and children and livestock were lost during the Civil War. Okay, so we're talking about all these travesties of war. These were all casualties of war. 2 soldiers fighting is their jobs. Killing a family or burning a family's property to the ground and slaughtering their livestock. This is before the Geneva, Convention was in
that's
effect.
just
So these are
mean
things
spirit.
that are travesties, and then here casualties of war. So it was important for us to sort of make sure that it wasn't a war story, but it was, like you said, the setting of martial law, what it was like to have a family back then, what it was like, what was it like to live under martial law, and then what was it like to deal with the likes of someone like Silas coming into your life.
And Mark, you are actually dressed in character. This was your outfit, your attire, your wardrobe.
Yes.
And
Minus a little blood.
Minus a little bit of blood. You're alive now, but I thought that you did well too on the costumes.
Thank you.
Throughout the movie, and the weapons, lots of good use.
237 props.
Wow.
Yeah. When you look at everything they had on, every single thing.
Hey, and I wore a white shirt, and that was more acting on my part.
Yeah, because you're the man in black.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were
John.
donning some suspenders too.
Well,
Which-
with all that wood stacking, I had to keep my britches up.
I know, yeah. Yeah, I can believe that too. So, and it really, it came off really, really well. And again, I'm a little starstruck. I'll be honest with you, because it's just really cool to see the people that or people that you don't know or get opportunity to meet and get to know up on the movie screen.
Well, you're too kind.
Yes.
Well,
But thank you.
And you know this guy's a talented guy, you
Yeah.
know, but now you know within
Well,
his realm, he
I wanna
also
see him
has.
dance.
Yeah.
it gets better.
I was going to do this some of that Zumba.
Yeah.
Doing the Zumba, we could line that up for
No,
you out here.
I was glad that I was watching you. I was like, oh, he's really bad. That would make me look good.
And you get to go. You not only come up with the idea, the concept, but you played the sheriff.
Yeah,
the
always
low down
Save a little part.
lawman.
Yeah, a little worthless sheriff. That was me. But I always like to have some kind of
Yeah.
a little tiny role that's appropriate for me. You know? If it's appropriate. If not, a lot of people just want to. Oh, you got to do this, and I really am not interested in playing that character. I like being behind the scenes and kind of working with my actors and bringing out what I want. But if it's an appropriate scene, I like to have something that's little for me. You know?
Yeah. I guess I was a little surprised you didn't sing in the movie, but
Well, you know, it's kind of like Elvis.
you did sing a little bit. But
Hey, it's kind of like Elvis, you know. He was always like, you know, man, it'd be cool if I could make a movie where I didn't have to sing every time. You know what I mean, man? I just want to be in a real movie. So that's what I just wanted to be in a real movie this time.
And you were.
I might sing in the next one. Who knows?
And you guys are doing another movie. Is that right? You got another one on the horizon?
We do. We have one that's in post-production right now. And then we're talking about some other projects for the summer. And, you know, we've got a good network of people that are behind the camera and now in front of the camera. So there's all kinds of projects in the future. I just want to make sure that they're ones that are, like I said, as acting appropriate. There's got to be the right story for these guys, for this area, for this, you know, part of the world. You know?
And you engaged with a lot of local businesses and a lot of local people, talented people. Aside from the people that were in front of the camera, you enlisted stunt people. You enlisted people to bring in the livestock.
Yeah, we had Will McKee, who did all the horsemanship in there. It was spectacular. I mean, made Johnny look awesome. But he was just incredible riding.
You were a heck of a horse rider.
Well,
That was good. You were just getting it.
According to the movie, you know.
Yeah.
That would be Will McKee, aka Slick Willie.
Yeah.
And
he did a fantastic job.
Is that the horse trainer?
that's the
Or-
messenger.
Messenger.
But Mandy,
That's right.
the woman that owns Indian Mound and owns the house that we shot at.
Yeah, that's her there. Yeah. That particular horse that day when he comes up with that horse, if you remember, the horse was real skittish that
Yeah,
day.
that
And
is
he was
a
like,
mean
he was
horse.
like, we got to get this shot quick because
That's
this horse
right.
is not liking this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that horse was pretty mean, but they said that it is only bridle trained. It had never had much interaction with people. So we were like, let's get this over with.
A little camera shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was.
well,
Yeah.
and you had a lot of other people. There were some that I recognized, some of the behind the scenes shots here. There's some more. There's what you were talking about where he was the messenger coming up with the horse, and you're back over there to the left, Mike. And then here's another scene where
Stacking wood.
stacking wood. Boy, you got really good at that, John.
That's a great shot right there.
Well, I mean,
Beautiful green.
I'm a strapping young
You
fellow.
are
Check me out.
just. I would have thought that was your workout back in the day, in the late 1800s. Was just stacking wood,
just stacking wood.
move it from one place to the other.
Yep.
The sound people that you used, did you use? If I'm not mistaken, Leon White. Did he?
That's Leon's grandson.
Leon's grandson.
Yep. Antoine.
Yeah. And Leon, has he worked with you on other projects, or was this the first?
No, we actually worked on another film together, that Christmas film that is in post-production right now. He was part of that. He has a church here in Paris, but he, as a hobby, is a filmmaker. So we've it's not a lot different than what I was saying about John and Mark, another well-established guy in town who, has passions to make film on top of what else his other thing is, and that's serving the Lord. And his church has been around for a long time, I think 35 years.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the in between takes sitting around and just talking to Leon too.
Yeah.
he was a really
Yeah,
cool
he's
guy.
a hoot.
you know, and
Keeps Mark from saying bad words and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he is stylish too.
oh man, yeah,
And Mark said, I hope I'm not going to hell, but not on Sunday. Leon started laughing. So he's just like one of the boys when he's out there. He's not Pastor Leon. He's just one of the camera guys. And I think he prefers that to wear that hat when he's making movies. You know? Yeah.
but I still like to have him around. It just made me feel good. Like he tells a story about whenever the first time we talked on the phone, I was like, well, I've never done this before, but I've been praying about it, that I will do a good job. Yeah. And I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I mean, like I pray every day, and I really did. I was like, Lord, just if I'm saying I'm going to do this, please let me do a decent job, I take that seriously, and I was glad to have Leon there with me, it just felt good to have him around.
Yeah.
Not something you find in L.A.
No, I can imagine that. Leon I know he's a confidant of my father's, so he's definitely a great person to have around, and another great asset in
they like
this
to
area.
call him Q, like from James Bond, because such a good tech guy.
Yeah.
All tech world is something he embraces, and he always says he's refusing to be intimidated by tech. So that's great.
That is good.
Yeah.
That look right there, boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that look right there.
Ooh, look at that. That you are. Look at Silas about to. Ready. You were.
That's when you shot the scope. Yep.
I tell you, some of them scenes I just thought about. It was Thursday morning when I had to show up about 9:30, and I'd missed the day before because I literally could not move or anything. And anyway, when I got there, Johnny Mac comes up to me and he said, Berg, I heard them boys talking this morning. They said, because I was out the day before, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to finish the movie. And Johnny Mac, he heard them boys saying, I don't think Berg's going to be able to make it and everything. Johnny Mac said, hey, he'll be here. He's a tough old boy. He'll be here.
I said, Mark Berg is not going to miss this. He's going to be here.
So I was worried. You can imagine coming into town and then one of your leads is down, broken ribs. This is how I found out. Wake up in the morning, I get like 30 texts from everybody. Berg went down last night hard. 30 texts from different people. Berg hurt himself last night. Berg hurt himself.
Stop by and see me.
Yeah, so I sent him a message and he didn't respond right away. And I said, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm going to come by and see you. Are you all right? And he finally went down hard. Worst ever in my life. I was like, uh-oh. So went over there. We get you all patched up, stretched out, wrapped ace bandages around him, icy hot, all kinds of whatever we could do. And he got out there, and that's exactly what Johnny said. I said, I'm worried. I don't know what I'm going to do if Mark can't do the fight scene tomorrow. He said, listen, man, I known Berg for a long time.
Get that confidence.
Yeah, he said he is one tough son of a bitch. He'll be there. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure enough, here he came.
And that fight scene, you laid some blows there. Just
I told Michael when he was casting people that were going to be my opponents, I said, listen, go ahead and tell them up front. It make this look real. Somebody's probably going to get hit. Y'all hit me, I'll just shake it off. And if I hit you, I apologize. But we got to make it real. And so that last scene, I had to go back after each scene because I'm, the fractured ribs. And so I'm squeezing down on him a little bit more.
Yeah, well, he's bear hugging you.
Yeah, he's bear hugging
me. And his neck's all red. And after every cut, I go over and say, man, I am sorry. I know I'm probably hammering you, but it was just a reaction to, to the pain.
These guys, I had 2 guys from LA that came with me, and they were so funny. It was like at one point they laid down this big blue tarp, and then they went over to the camera and they're like, oh, we can still see the tarp, you got to cover it more. And then about half an hour into it, these guys go, what's the tarp for? I said, so they're afraid you're going to roll in the grass with spiders and stuff. He's like, oh, I'm okay. So I was like, get rid of the tarp.
Yeah.
These guys are from Tennessee. They're not scared of spiders.
No. Yeah, because there was a scene where you got down to do some shooting, and I was thinking about similar kind of a thought process. He was down in looked like you were in the honeysuckle and everything.
It was hot out there, and we were sweating. And
we lost some weight.
and like he would have to run through there and with a branch and try to get the snakes scared away and everything. And I was just like, well, here we go. I just sit down in the middle of it. And
Sorry about that one, John.
Now look, I brought my own bug spray, so I was hosing myself down, and those boys from California, and I was like, you want some? They're like, nah, we're fine. And then, hey, the next day, they were all eat up. They're like,
Johnny Mac, do you have any of that bug spray we got?
Yeah. Well, the one said, I had so much of the mosquito serum in me, I feel kind of woozy. I was like, I don't think that's a real thing, but but anyhow, they did great for never being in Tennessee.
Look, I was like,
Did they get any chiggers on them?
I didn't get one bug bite, but I sprayed my socks, my underwear, everything in my body and everything before I get out there.
We were in the woods, deep woods, laying in the middle of them.
I was like, the more DEET, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give me the
Yeah.
Yeah. Says don't apply it on skin. That's just for the weak at heart. I'm putting it on.
Yeah.
I tell you, one of the classics for me, though, when somebody's from, like, L.A.
I know you're going to say this.
I had to tell this story. So I get there the first day on Monday, and we're, over in Purrier, and we get back in this field, and there's another field through the tree line that is where the
set was.
Yeah, it's been filmed and everything. Yeah. And so we're sitting there, and one of the guys comes up that's with him from L.A. and said, well, actually, you pulled up, and he said, "Yeah, we got a front end loader coming to get you guys." And I'm sitting there, go back there, and I'm saying, "Darn, what kind of ditch is that?" And we finally went through it. We went through it, and I pulled my SUV through there the next day, not in 4-wheel drive.
Yeah,
I'm
these guys are like, "We're gonna go get this." I'm like, "What is it?" I don't know. It's a front loader. I looked at him. He was thinking, "How big is this?" Like,
Once they got off the pavement,
it's going to be like put a car in the bucket.
And then I said the other thing was, in L.A., if you're in the desert and you're riding quads,
quads.
No, it's a 4-wheeler.
Yeah, 4-wheeler. It's got 4 wheels, doesn't it? It's a 4-wheeler.
I said, well, the quad's coming through. It's too loud. They're like, the what? I said, the quad. Well, what's a quad? He said, you mean a 4-wheeler? And then it's like, well, some people call it a quad, but at that point, I feel like an idiot. I'm like, yeah, of course, a 4-wheeler.
You're still trying to figure out what.
That's right.
He's still trying to figure out what cobbler is.
Yeah. That was a good line. Good one. I think we've got a promo for your upcoming.
Let's see it.
Let's see it.
I'd like to see it too.
All right. Steadfast Country Christmas.
Here we go.
Film about faith, family, and Christmas.
Soundtrack by Johnny Mac.
Oh, so we do get to hear some singing possibly.
Mm-hmm. Well, 30 years from now, all the old timers will be gone. Forgotten like the record player hidden under your old bed at home. I wish the only pop in country was a sound made by putting that needle on. But I know 30 years from now, I'll still be singing haggard songs. Well, I don't know about y'all, but something about Christmas has always made me feel good inside. Although this particular Christmas, I wasn't much into celebrating. I was missing my wife, Sarah, so much, and without her, it just don't seem like the holidays. Thankfully, though, I have my son Levi and his buddy Owen there to help me with the family business. And Levi, he's the best son I could ask for. He's hard-working, loves his dad, and I know he misses his mama something terrible. But you know, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and just when you think you got it all figured out, He reminds you what's important in life. Family, faith, and taking the time to give. But things were pretty tough that year, and I let it be known that I wasn't celebrating the holiday. I didn't decorate or put up a tree or Christmas lights or any of the stuff I would normally do because I just wasn't feeling it. And I'm sure some of y'all probably been there before. But here's my story. I hope you enjoy it. Yes.
All right. Yeah. That deep voice just resonates.
That was a cool trick of me singing and talking at the
It
same time.
was like a
Your mouth
ventriloquist.
didn't move while you were driving.
Yeah. No, you wasn't texting or driving. You driving that old Ford though.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
know if it was a Ford. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And
We're not supposed to sing.
I couldn't tell.
looking, and I recognize a lot of the scenes there, a lot of those places already.
Oh, just beautiful stuff around here, man. It just lends itself so well to to film, you know.
Yeah, that going over the bridge over Tennessee River, and then Westphalia Farms,
Yeah.
that wedding venue, beautiful locations.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's been amazing having you guys on the show, and really, it's been fun. This has been probably one of the coolest. I know what y'all have done has been cool. This has been one of the coolest things that I've got to do.
Thanks, man. I've really enjoyed this too.
Yeah.
Anytime I can hang out with my buddies and talk about myself, I enjoy it.
Just a couple things I want to say. First off, if y'all come to Blues Landing Thursday night, Mr. Johnny Mack will be playing. You can get an autograph.
Oh,
from
look
him.
at that!
Look, I was just about to say that. Every Thursday night, I'm there at 7 o'clock, and we have an awesome time. And Berg's putting out some amazing food.
Absolutely,
and,
great place.
Atmosphere is great. The drinks are good, and you know, everything's really cool about it. And
Yeah.
I look forward to it every week.
Hey, come get you some Johnny Mack, and I highly recommend the Shirley Mac and Cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a story behind that, but
good
yes.
stuff. Great place. I love Blues Landing.
and other than that, I've always wanted to say this. First, I want to thank Michael May for bringing this to us and
Yes.
everything awesome. And on behalf of me and Johnny Mack, we'd like to thank the Oscars. I never got to say that.
Might as well.
I was wondering who you're
Yeah, the Oscars for.
Boy, the camera loves him, doesn't it?
It
Did you see when he
does.
was at the movie theater?
Yeah.
As soon as he came on, I was like,
It-
stay on
it was
him.
electric.
Stay on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the whole crowd. Johnny's up there just being nice and humble up at the top.
Yeah.
Well, I have to work harder at it because he's an entertainer.
Hey,
Just had to
I was
work.
I was sitting in the back there because you know, like I said, I hadn't seen it yet, so I was just
Hiding by
kind
the
of
exit. Yeah.
waiting to see what I thought about it before I really stood
And
up.
here's
to
me.
the
I
top.
stand up right before his
Oh yeah.
I'm here.
Sit
Come
down,
on.
Mark.
Yeah, come on. I'm here.
Guys, y'all aren't going to want to miss this next guest. Miss Teri is going to be telling some spooktacular tales of some experiences that she's had from her past leading up to Halloween. So y'all stick around. Let me get over here and we're going to talk with Miss Teri. Teri, how are you again? Good to see you
I guess I'll
over
turn
here.
it over this way. Huh?
Yeah. So
Okay. Hey.
I've been looking forward to having the opportunity to talk to you about some of the more bizarre things that you've
Strange and
bizarre things that you've come encounter with, and tell me a little bit about some of the experiences that you've had.
Well, I truly have had many. My experiences started when I was about 5 years old. And I was the only one having these kinds of experiences in my family. And I had tried to share some of it with my parents, and they weren't able to understand what I was going through. And they weren't willing to listen or to check it out or to even draw me out and ask me additional questions about it. So as the years went by, many things started happening, and I just had to learn. People don't care. You just have to deal with it. The adults, I thought my mom and dad would, help me through it, and they didn't. And I see now as an adult that there was a big plan that God had for me, and He was walking me through some things that others weren't having happen in their lives. But I became a clergy, I became a demonologist, I later became, very staunch in my spiritual faith because there was nowhere else to go. When very frightening things would happen, I would go to, one time I went to a church, I won't say what denomination, but they just poo-pooed me and I scared the bejesus out of them. And they didn't want to talk to me. And that broke my heart because I had now nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And then I met God. Then I had a spiritual experience where the Lord, Jesus Christ really came into my heart and changed my life. And I was able not to live in 24/7 fear anymore. I could finally, I think I was 25, I could turn the lights off at night to sleep for the first time in my life.
Oh, wow.
And it was because I was learning now that I wasn't the only person that had those things. But we were going to share a couple of my experiences. I don't know which one the producer has up first, so I believe it was, okay,
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about, I was 17 years old, living in St. Petersburg, Florida, and back in that day, we all listened to records. I know you probably weren't even born yet, but but that's what we did. We always would just sit around listening to records and talking and this kind of thing. And I was with two friends, and they were guy friends, but really good, close friends that I had gone to school with, Jerry and Eddie. And they invited me over to sit at Jerry's apartment. He had just got an apartment. They were a little older than me, but we were just good buds, and we were listening to music and stuff. And while we were sitting around, I was sitting like here, and Jerry was where you were, and Eddie would have been like right here. And all of a sudden, in my peripheral vision, I see something on the floor in the kitchen in this little apartment,
Yeah.
and it looks like a fire. And I thought, oh, wow, and they saw me look and do that, oh, wow, because I thought a fire had started. We didn't know how, there was no candle or anything like that. But all of a sudden, the smoke started coming up from the bottom of the floor. And then it just kind of hung out together, and it just came up and up and up. And they both panicked, screamed, and ran down those stairs that you can see on that house on the left side. That is the actual house I was in St. Petersburg, Florida. And that stairway, they ran, and this is at night,
Yeah.
they ran down that stairway, and I could hear them both running, but I was frozen because out of that mist came this face. And I sat with Kevin on the computer, and I showed him what I saw, and we put it together, and it was so frightening. They saw it, they ran. I couldn't run. I was scared, literally frozen in fear. And this thing came right at me. It just came right at me, and it went through me. And my eyes started hurting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I thought, oh my gosh, what just happened? And I got up and I ran downstairs. Now all of a sudden I had my wits about me, and I ran downstairs, and they were downstairs in the front yard just standing out. And back then there were trees, and it wasn't real pretty like that because that's an old picture. It's like 50 some odd years old. So anyway, but that was the house. And they were looking at me and going, what happened? And I said, tell me what you saw. And they told me what they saw,
Yeah.
and I said, that's what I saw, but I couldn't move, and it just came right at me. And that night, they left. They were like,
I would
well,
have too.
we're leaving.
I wouldn't have stayed either.
No,
Teri.
and
I'd have
they
been
didn't.
gone. I wouldn't have come back either. I wouldn't have been your friend no more.
No, they weren't my friend anymore. They thought it was something I did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? What? I couldn't believe that they would even think that.
Yeah.
But they left. And here I am standing out there, and my eyes are burning and itching, and I'm rubbing them, and I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? I went to St. Anthony's Hospital on 5th Avenue North. This was on 7th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, and on 5th Avenue North was St. Anthony's Hospital. And when I got there, and they saw me, they had said to me, what happened to you? And there was no way on God's green earth I was going to tell them what had just happened, because I figured they'd call.
But they could see physically, they could see.
The white that covers your eyes, that clear that covers your eyes, was hanging out of my eye.
Oh.
And when I would try to blink, I couldn't do a full blink because it was all, pushed out of my eye. And I just kept doing this and crying and saying, oh, it hurts so bad. And they said, well, we're really sorry, we can't do anything for you here because you need an ophthalmologist, and there is no such thing as an ophthalmologist on 24/7. So they said, but behind this building is an ophthalmologist's office. So I sat in that ophthalmologist's office all night long, and at 7 o'clock in the morning the nurse came, and I went running to her, and she was like, oh my gosh, what happened to you? And by now it was red eyes. I mean, all the skin around my eyes was red and just hurting. And she said, oh my gosh. And I said, I have to see the doctor. And she goes, okay. So she set me, and she actually allowed me to come in that early and set me there and gave me ice to just put on around because it was all just inflamed from me itching. And when he came in, he said, what happened to you? Did you have an accident? And I said, no. And he said, well, what happened? Did somebody hit you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. And I thought, no way, I'm not telling, because he'll think I'm a nutcase, and that'll be the end of it, And so he gave me drops and told me I had to go home. I had to shut the lights out. I shut the lights out after seeing something like that.
Did you go back to your house?
I drove my little self home and put myself to bed, but I kept all the lights on, and I had ice around my eyes and putting the drops in, and it finally subsided. Now, I moved to Paris here 2.5 years ago, and I finally, I'm going to say it's been about 6 months ago, I went to see Dr. Curtis Taylor. Mm-hmm. And he looked at me with those things that, they look real close up, and he goes, Teri, what happened to your eye? You must have had a terrible accident at some point. Tell me about it. For the first time in my life, I told the truth. And I actually said to him, this is what happened. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, okay, I think I believe that. And I was like, yeah, I know you don't. But every ophthalmologist I've seen over my life has said, on your right eye, what happened?
Yeah.
And
it just scarred it in there.
And I never would tell anybody because I just thought people just don't want to hear the truth. Mm-hmm. They don't want to hear things they can't wrap their mind around, and they don't want to hear things that befuddle their belief system or freak them out or scare them. They'd rather just hear, oh, she got hit in the face with a rock or something, but that isn't what happened.
Did you ever see it again?
I never did see that particular spirit again.
Never,
because that was so frightening. It started on the floor like smoke, and it just rose up, and then this face came out of it, very demonic, and it was in fact a demonic entity. But at that time, being so young, I didn't even know they existed. I didn't know anything about them. I had nobody to talk to, and so.
Wow.
What was very common in my life was just to live my life, mind my business, be a good girl, don't do anything crazy, just live your life and tell the truth. And it has been a very hard thing, but I am so proud of myself. After all these years, I finally told a doctor the truth about it, and it was so hard for me to tell him that. But
so what other that was that the first wild experience?
That was the first, well, it was not the first wild experience. When I was 5, I had a very powerful experience. I almost hate to share it because people who are not open-minded can't hear it. They can't understand it. And again, it was all about God helping me through it, but I think I'll share that at another time.
Okay.
My next story is even harder to believe.
Let's go.
Yeah. Well, when I was, 27 years old, I was coming home from work. I had 2 little kids. Well, Jason, my oldest son, who's a cameraman here, and my other son, Joshua. And they were babies, and I worked a night shift so that my husband could work a day shift so that our children were never with strangers. Mm-hmm. And that's a picture of me there, and I drove that little Honda, and I was
Beautiful picture, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I used to work for Honeywell Aerospace when I was very young. I was 18, 19, and 20. And I had been laid off because they were working on a Minuteman project and they were getting ready to do the Gemini project. And they would lay people off so they wouldn't have to, pay you or cover your insurance or anything like that. So I was waiting. I was secretary. My sister was a secretary at Honeywell, but my mother was in management and she had got us in and all this. And well, that's just pertinent to tell you in the beginning. But this night I was working and I came home driving pretty fast in that little Honda, and I got home and I was getting ready to make a left off of 28th Street North in St. Petersburg, and again this was 1979, and I saw something hovered over the railroad track, and I thought, oh, the trains are out. And then I went, wait, that's not a train. And I thought, you gotta be kidding me. And I could see under it, over it, around it, and it wasn't attached to anything. I'm looking for rivets, I'm looking for doors that would open on a train, and I slapped my face real hard and said, oh, you've had an accident. I think you've wigged out. I think you're dead.
Yeah.
I think I'm dead, because I don't believe in that.
Right.
And there's no way I believe in that stuff.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I'm not dead. That hurt, because I really slapped myself. And then I thought, oh my gosh, what is that? Well, my car was coming down. I was going to get ready to flick my blinker on to make my left, and the car shut off.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh no, you've got to be kidding, and I literally said that, you've got to be kidding, Lord, you've got to be kidding. And my car just went right up. I was about 100 feet from that craft. And then all of a sudden, it just enveloped me, and I looked at that thing and I went, oh, that's beautiful. That thing is gorgeous. And as I was watching it, there was a blue light that was going around it ever so slowly. In 1979, we did not have fiber optics.
Right.
And we did not have blue lights like that. No color like that existed. And the whole time I'm saying to the Lord, you've got to be kidding me, Lord, why am I looking at this? This is comic book entertainment. This is not real. Why would you allow me to see something like this? Why? And my car's dead. Now what do I do? And I had my hands on the steering wheel, they were not white knuckling it. And I'm looking at it, and the more I could see it through the windshield, I thought, that thing is beautiful. That thing is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was one piece. And it was this pewter silvery color, grayish, and I thought, wow. And now I'm intrigued by it, and I'm not really as fearful as I was. But I did say this out loud, Lord, help me get through this. You got to be kidding me. And then I said out loud, Teri, whatever you do, don't get out of the car. Do not get out of the car. And I put my hand on the door thing, and I opened the door. And I said to myself, it was like I was having this conundrum within me. This spirit was fighting the flesh. And I was like, get your hand off that door. And the door just opened. And I thought, oh my God, Teri, don't get out of the car. And the next thing I know, I'm out of the car, but I don't understand how I got out.
I don't either.
And I was white knuckled now on this little, I don't know what they call that on the door, but when your door's open and you're just
over the top of the window.
Over the top of the window, I'm hanging on to that thing now. And I'm looking at this thing, and again, it just kind of envelops me. And the whole thing was just so bizarre. I couldn't figure out how to deal with it internally. Wrap my mind around it, I guess would be the terminology today. That wasn't terminology back then, so all I could say was, oh my God. And I kept saying, God, you've got to be kidding me. Why would you show me this? And I heard the Lord say to me inwardly, he literally said, Teri, there is so much that you do not understand. And I thought, yeah, but I don't want to understand this. This is really freaky. And the next thing I know, I'm in front of my Civic, and I don't know how I got in front of it. And I'm like, how did I get here? And I thought, wait, I never let go. And I'm thinking to myself, what? How did this happen? I'm being moved. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I did not walk from behind I just was there. And now I'm looking at this thing again, and I'm mesmerized again by it, going, this is amazing, and the blue light is still going around it. And this is actually a picture of the craft at the exact place in St. Petersburg on 28th Street North that I saw. From, of course, it's a rendition. Kevin did that, but that is exactly where it was. It was 42 feet long, and I was standing under 200 feet away from it because I went back later and measured everything, the next day. And this made no noise. It didn't make any sound at all, which to me was more than bizarre.
Very strange.
Yeah. How could something be hovered and not touching the ground and not be making any noise? I couldn't register it, and I wasn't stupid.
Or why the car stopped.
The whole time I'm having this conversation with myself, and I'm just fighting myself, believing to myself, what the heck? I can't figure this out. And then, I don't know how long I stood there looking at that, but all of a sudden this huge blue light from my right side illuminated.
Yeah.
And as it did, I turned and looked, and there was actually a very tall white entity standing in that, and I freaked out.
I'm kind of freaking out right now.
I called out to the Lord and said, oh my God, no way, no way. And I thought, I'm not looking at that. I will not look at that. I do not want to see that. It was so ugly. I was scared, really very scared.
So like one of the grays or whatever?
No, this was a tall white. It was tall. It was tall. It was like 9 feet tall and standing in that blue light. Have you ever put your thumb on the end of a torch and you could see right straight through it?
Yeah.
Well, I could see right through him.
Yeah.
He didn't have a bone structure like we do. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what the heck is that thing?
Yeah.
And I kept asking the Lord that, and I didn't hear any answer. The next thing I know, I looked down and I thought, I'm going to try to get back in my car. And when I looked down, I wasn't standing on the street. I was in the middle of the street, but I wasn't standing on it. I was about this far up off the street. I could see my feet, and I wasn't rocking this way or that way or forward or backward. I was firmly above the street. And I thought, how? How? And so as I was there, I started to be moved towards this thing. First it was in my right peripheral, now it's in my left peripheral, and I'm looking away, trying not to look at it. And I end up in a second craft that I never saw until I looked in that direction. There was one hovered over the railroad tracks, but there was another one right over off to the side. And on 28th Street North, there's a big, huge, empty space there. It's just like all grass. And that's where this one had fully landed. And I'm now being moved past this thing, which I refused to look at. The head was so big, and he was spindly thin and just gross. I couldn't look at it. And the next thing I remembered, I was inside of the craft. And I had my night work uniform on, and I was laid out on this table in a room that was all white. Now, back in 1979, we didn't have soft white light bulbs and this and that. This room, the floor was lit, the surrounding area was lit, there were no light bulbs, everything had a white glow to it. And even what I was laying on had a white glow to it.
Wow.
And so I looked down, and that's when I saw these two smaller, and I now know they're called grays. Back in that day, I didn't know that was what it was called.
Oh, okay.
And so I saw the one putting some fingers on my left leg, and that scared me so bad. I could see I was wearing my little boots, my sandals, these little beige sandals, and I had my uniform on, and I brought my head up, and when I saw them, I panicked, and I thought, where's that white thing, where's that white thing? And I no more said that than he came right from here into my view, looking right straight down at me, and he spoke to me, but not with a mouth. It was a mental telepathy thing. He had no mouth, he had no nose, there were no ears. He was just this very ugly, tall, white. And many people have seen them, but he simply said to me, "We are not going to take you. We are not going to hurt you."
Okay.
And I screamed out, "Take me?
Yeah.
Take me where? Where would you take me?"
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding. This is beyond bizarre." And with that, I was out. The next thing I remembered was standing in front of the Honda Civic again. And now I'm looking straight here, knowing full well I was over there. I was afraid to look over there.
Yeah,
I was not looking over there because I thought if that tall thing is over there, I don't want to see it. And I'm looking at this one, and I thought, I don't know how long I stood there. And then it flipped and went completely vertical with that fast. I mean, in the middle of a blink,
The craft went vertical.
And not any form of wind or movement or the trees, nothing around there. Of course, this was in 2012 when I took this picture. This happened in 1979. So the trees that were there were palm trees on either side of the road,
Okay.
which are no longer there.
Okay.
But those palm trees, nothing moved. There was no movement. And I'm looking at that. I don't hear crickets. I don't hear dogs. I don't hear cars. I don't hear anything. How is that possible? I'm standing in the middle of the road in the middle of the night. And it was about, I think I forgot to mention that, it was about 2:15 or so, because it took me about 15 minutes to get home from work. So I'm thinking 2:15, and you know, it's the middle of the night. And I can see the light at 30th and 28th going from green to yellow to red. And I can actually hear it. And I thought, how could you hear that? And I'm like, what, do I have sonic ears all of a sudden? You know, but I could actually hear click, click, click.
Yeah.
And I thought, is it really that quiet that I can hear almost a block away? And I couldn't wrap my mind around it. So then, after that, as I was watching it that way, something very bizarre started happening.
More bizarre than this.
Much more bizarre than that,
Okay.
which I kept saying to the Lord, you've got to be kidding me. How could this be any more weird? And as it was this way, it shot up and it went about, I don't know, about that far, you know, however far that was, I could still see it. And it just shot up and it stopped. And I started saying, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. And then I went, Teri, what are you saying? Why are you saying that?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say that? You have babies at home. Shut up.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a conundrum, a true, honest conundrum. I could not deal with one side of me saying one thing and the other side of me saying another, and yet I was living in that moment, in that reality for that experience. And I started actually pleading and crying, literally real tears, crying, don't leave me, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here anymore, please take me. And then I actually said this, which shocked me, what's wrong, aren't I good enough? And I thought, Teri, why would you say something like that?
Yeah.
You know, what a stupid thing to say. And I'm literally disciplining myself for the things that I'm saying, which don't make any sense to me. And I thought, oh, this is, you know, this blows bizarre off the charts.
Definitely.
And so as I stood there, I'm looking at it up there. From the bottom of this comes this huge fireball, and it just exited right out of the bottom of it. And I could hear that fireball crackling like fire. And I thought it was like an electric fire. And I thought, oh no, you know, am I going to get burned? What's going to happen now? And I thought, oh dear God, please, you know, it can't get crazier. It just can't get crazier than this. And I'm still going, please come back, don't leave, don't leave.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I mean, within a blink, they both headed towards the Gulf of Mexico so fast, I didn't even see them leave. But I mean, it was like they were gone. And now I'm standing in the middle of the road. I'm holding my head in my hands, and I'm going, you have got to be
kidding me?
Yeah.
How do I deal with that? Where do I file that?
Right.
I actually said that. Where do I file that? And I thought, I've got to talk to somebody who knows me, somebody who loves me, somebody who knows me. And I thought, my mother. I'm going to go to my mother's. And I lived on 32nd Avenue. She lived on 52nd Avenue. So she was about a couple blocks away. So I get in the car, starts right up. Turn my little Honda Civic around, drive to my mother's, go knock on her front door, and her husband comes to the door and says, Teri, why are you here so early in the morning? And I went, he's so tired he thinks it's the morning. And I thought, it's only about 2:30 at night. And I went, Marty, I just need to talk to my mother. You know, I'm thinking it's 2:30.
Right.
It was 4 a.m. in the morning.
You lost time.
I lost time. But I didn't know that because I didn't know that you could lose time. I didn't know that it was a possibility to lose time. So my mother, I hear her coming down the hall and she goes, Marty, who is it? And he goes, it's Teri. And she says, well, let her in. And I just ran to my mother and said, Mom, please put the coffee on. I've got to talk to you. I have to talk to you right now. I said, this is so strange what happened to me tonight. And I was crying.
Yeah.
And she said, okay. And she started putting the coffee on, and we sat there for a little bit, and I'm telling her what happened, like I told you, but I was very emotional that night.
Yeah.
And she's just sitting there looking at me. And I thought, oh my God, I can tell by the way she's looking at me that she thinks I'm nuts. And I think she's probably going to throw me out of the house any minute now, you know. And I said, Mom, really, please, you know, I don't know what to do. And she said, she just kind of did this. She goes, Teri, she goes, it's okay. I've seen him too.
Oh my
and I
gosh.
went, no way. And I screamed. I actually got up, jumped up and screamed and said, what? I'm 27.
Yeah.
How could you have let me live all these years and not prepared me for that? I said, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I am so freaked out. What do I do with this? And she goes, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do with it. You're going to do what I did. You're not going to say a word to anybody, because if you ever want Honeywell to hire you back on with one of our next projects and somebody hears this story, you're never coming back.
Yeah.
You'll never work here again. And I'm like, she's threatening me with my job. And she said, just keep it quiet.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody. And I was basically a really good kid. I mean, I really was. And I listened to my mother. I had full respect for my mother. And I said, all right, I won't. And I never did say anything again. 29 years later, literally, 2008, my mother was dying of cancer. And it didn't look like she was going to make it. And I thought, gee, I wonder if I should maybe talk to somebody now about what happened to me, because I need to find out what happened to me. But I thought, well, I'll just, you know, I'll consider that. And I'm sitting at home one day and I hear this voice that says, go to the computer, report your sighting. I'm like, 29 years later, just like that, I knew exactly what it was talking about. I got up, I went to the computer and I said, well, how do you do that? And I just typed in, you know, report a UFO, and up came MUFON. And for the very first time in my entire life, I heard about MUFON. And I read it all, and it said, you know, click here, report what happened to you. And I did. And when I did that, they called me right away and wanted to know, did anything more happen to you about, you know, what else happened? And I was afraid to tell them the whole truth because, again, just like the doctor with my eye, I'm like, you know, I'm so sick of people because I'm different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing spirits, I'm having all these different things happen. I'm a very strong Christian, and I don't know why these things are happening to me. And pastors don't want to talk about it. The church doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to help you. They want to judge you.
Yeah.
They want to judge you. And yeah, I don't want to know that gal, you know. And I'm like, oh, it's okay with me. I'm okay with myself. You know, I've had to live through it all. But anyway, I finally did tell them, and then I forgot about it. 2 years later in 2010, I went back. I was led back again to the computer to revisit my report citing. And when I did, it said become a field investigator, and I became a field investigator in 2010. And today I'm on the board of directors with the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON is the acronym for it. And I've been a field investigator, and I've heard so many stories that were identical to my own.
Wow.
Yeah. That is kind of scary. Those things are really out there.
That makes me not want to go across any railroad tracks. Stay away.
It's very prevalent that railroad tracks do bring something. They come here scavenging what they get, and there is something about those railroad tracks. This is something that somebody, once they heard my story, they were so moved, they literally made a little video of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So somebody put together the whole graphic.
Yeah. They were so blown away by it, and they were like, yeah, they knew me, and they knew that this wasn't just a story or something that was made up. It was like the real thing that actually did happen, and they actually made this for me. And I speak at conferences and UFO symposiums and things like that.
I would have had them, just me personally, I would have upgraded from the Honda Civic to something much cooler in the story.
Nope, I had a Honda Civic. Yeah.
That's spooky.
It was very difficult to live through. It was hard to deal with. It was hard to revisit, even 29 years later, it was hard to revisit. But once I did, it's like I was okay now. I've shared it with somebody. Other people have had these experiences. I'm not alone. I'm not weird. I'm just one of the ones that have had these really strange experiences. And people say, well, how can you be a Christian? And I'm like, how could you not? God created everything. Mm-hmm. And we're crazy to think that we're the only planet that has any type of life on it in billions upon billions upon billions of galaxies out there. There are off-world places that do have other species. And NASA is now coming out and talking about it. Right. The Department of Defense, Lou Elizondo, has come out, and UFOs. They are now talking about it.
They call them something else, though, don't they? They don't call it
UAP.
UAP.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unidentified phenomenon. And also the USOs, which are the ones that come out from the sea. Those are the ones my mother told me she saw on her houseboat. They would stay 3 months a year on the houseboat, and they would just shoot right up out of the water and take off so fast. You were like, whoa, did I even see that? And she saw those all the time with her husband.
Wow.
And they never spoke to anybody about it. She retired from Honeywell. She was there the whole time, 30 some years. But I was never brought back. I moved to New York and thought, that's it. I don't want to see any more UFOs.
Makes me not want to go to Florida too.
Well, they are a hotbed, but so is California, and so is Texas, and there's quite a few here in Tennessee.
Yeah. Wow. Folks, if y'all didn't get a little chill by hearing these two stories, you're just not in the Halloween mood, the Halloween mode. Those were spooky.
Yeah, that was spooky to live through.
And I'm sure that there's more. You've told me a couple
Many
of
more.
that you didn't share today. So, wow, I told y'all there was going to be a spooky episode, and to stick around and have some popcorn. And I think you and Mika should get together, because she could get some ideas for another escape danger room over here. But really, and this is...
I do a United MUFON meeting for MUFON every fourth Saturday of the month. I've been doing that for years now, since about 2012. And you can go to MUFON.com or MUFON meetings. This next one I'm having is going to be Marketa Klimova. She's our symposium organizer. That's November the 26th at 2 p.m. Central Time. And we live stream that as well.
Okay, so people can join in,
And this is enigmatic anomalies, and enigmatic anomalies is where we talk about the things like the paranormal things that have happened, and not just mine, but many other stories and different investigations I've been on, interviews I've done with some of literally the world's greatest ufologists.
This is going to be coming to My Paris TV as well as another show. EnigmaCon is a conference that's going to be coming.
Will be for 2023, sometime probably in October or November of next year. We'll do an EnigmaCon where we'll bring in a lot of different speakers and that kind of thing and talk about that. All the different subjects that are involved with the spiritual, the extraterrestrial, the demonic, angelic, and how it all does relate. It's all out there. It's all happening here, and
wow,
it's just very interesting. And we've got so many people who go to EA Radio, and these are some of the top people that have been interviewed by Kevin and I. So there's thousands of plays and 54 downloads, 39 followers right now. People are afraid of this stuff, but we're not to live in fear. We're to overcome fear. We're to understand where we are and what we're doing. So anyway, there it is.
Well, very, very cool, very interesting.
And you can go to terilyng.com. I started a blog many years ago for my grandchildren and now my great-grandchildren, so that they know that if something bizarre happens, you don't have to live in fear. There are ways to deal with things. And I share a lot of my personal experiences on terilyng.com. And I have a little book that I wrote that was a wand that this one extraterrestrial used, and I had a healing. For 12 years I had an issue, and I was actually healed. And that is a very interesting story.
That is. Wow.
So there
amazing stuff, Teri. A really intriguing, bizarre, amazing, a lot of adjectives to describe a lot of that. But I do appreciate the courage and coming out and talking about this stuff. And hopefully we got some people a little spooked tonight. That was part of the goal, so maybe that happened. But I am going to, we're going to go ahead and close the show out. We've got guests here in the studio, and we're going to let everybody head out. But hey, guys, thanks for tuning in today for Good Day Paris. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you got a little spooked. Hope you learned a little something. Go get in shape over at yoga, and go down to Blues Landing and have some of that macaroni. And don't forget, if you're not having a good day, just wait a little bit, change your tune, and then have a great day. Y'all take care.
That's right.